In the northern kingdom of Israel lived a woman that the Bible describes as a great woman, a godly woman of wealth and influence. She lived in the city of Shunem with her husband, just the two of them, because they were unable to have children. As she looked out her window, this Shunammite woman would occasionally see a stranger traveling through the town. Finally, one day, as the man was passing through, the woman invited him for dinner. So the man and his servant turned aside from their journey and sat down to eat with the Shunammite woman and her husband. The man said, "My name is Elisha, and this is Gehazi." They all enjoyed a meal, and when they were finished, Elisha and Gehazi said goodbye and went on their way. After that, whenever Elisha came through, the Shunammite couple would have him for dinner. One day the woman told her husband, "I'm pretty sure this man Elisha is a prophet. We should do more to help him. Let's add a room to our house so that any time he's passing through, he has a place to stay if he wants it." Her husband agreed, and so they added a separate room to the side of their house. The next time Elisha and Gehazi stopped for dinner, the woman said, "Elisha, we've added a separate room to the side of our house just for you. From now on, when you're traveling through Shunem, you don't even have to ask. That room will be available for you to stay in." Of course, Elisha was extremely grateful for the kindness of this dear couple. One night, when Elisha and Gehazi were staying in the prophet's chamber, Elisha said, "Gehazi, this couple has been very good to us. Go knock on their door and see if there's anything we can do for them." Gehazi did as Elisha asked, and when he returned, he told Elisha, "The woman said thank you, but they have everything they need." Elisha thought out loud, "There must be something we can do for them." And that's when Gehazi suggested, "You know, they don't have any children, Elisha." "That's it," Elisha shouted. "Go ask the woman to come here." Gehazi brought the woman to the door of Elisha's room, and Elisha confidently announced, "You and your husband are going to have a son. A year from now, you will be a mom." The woman got emotional and said, "You're a man of God. Please don't lie to me." But Elisha wasn't lying. A year from that time, the Shunammite couple were the excited parents of a baby boy, and they enjoyed every moment of raising him. One day, years later, that boy went out into the fields to work with his dad. Suddenly, as he was working, the boy grabbed his head and started crying in pain. His dad called to one of the workers and said, "Take my son to his mom in the house." The mom took her boy and held him on her lap for several hours, until finally the boy died. She carried him into Elisha's room and laid his dead body on Elisha's bed. Then she got on a donkey and went and found Elisha. Elisha came to their house, went into his room, and saw the dead body of the boy laid out on his bed. Elisha laid on top of the dead body of that boy and cried out to God in prayer. At last, the boy's body began to get warm, and suddenly the boy sneezed 7 times, and then he opened his eyes. Elisha told Gehazi, "Go get his mom." She came into the room, saw her son sitting there, and fell to the floor at Elisha's feet in gratitude, and then brought her boy into the house. Years later, Elisha was passing through the city of Shunem again, and he stopped by the house as always. He said, "The Lord has told me that there's going to be a horrible famine in Israel. It's going to last for 7 years. I suggest you take your family and move out of the country until the famine is over." After all they'd been through with Elisha, they were prepared to follow his advice. They packed their things, moved to the land of the Philistines, and stayed there for 7 years. When the famine was over and they returned to Shunem, the woman's house and land had been taken over by strangers. She knew immediately that she must plead her case before the king of Israel, and so she made her way to Samaria. As it happened, Elisha's servant Gehazi was with the king at that very time. Gehazi had made a foolish mistake that had cost him his job with Elisha. But now Gehazi was working for the king of Israel in some capacity. The king was fascinated with the ministry of Elisha, and he wanted Gehazi to tell him everything he could about the amazing things he had seen Elisha do. The king was riveted as Gehazi told him story after story of Elisha's miracles. Then Gehazi said, "Let me tell you about the most spectacular thing I ever saw." And he proceeded to describe every detail of how Elisha raised the Shunammite woman's son from the dead. The king was fully immersed in the story. At that very moment, A servant declared, "Your Highness, a woman of Shunem wishes to present her petition." The Shunammite woman walked into the room, bowed before the king, and pleaded for the return of her property. Gehazi jumped up, pointed at the woman, and shouted, "King, that's her! That's the woman I was just telling you about, the woman whose son Elisha raised from the dead." The king didn't hesitate. He told one of his officers, "Go with this woman. Make sure her property is fully restored to her, and pay her all of the harvests that she's lost for these 7 years." God's hand of providence took care of this woman who had taken care of his servant. Christian, when you make the Lord your priority, he always takes care of your needs. Stay the course.